Greetings world. We are Anonymous. Perhaps you have wondered what the life of an Anonymous is really like. Surely it's not just an unshowered nerd, sitting in a dark moldy basement, surrounded by pizza boxes and soda cans, is it? No, it's not. We thought you might be curious. And for those who are, and for those who simply wish to know what Anonymous is and what we deal with, enjoy the video. We will discuss one Anon in particular today, Linus DK. Some of you may be familiar with that short, intro type video we made about him earlier. If you have not seen it, you have not missed anything. We decided as the other was short and for another purpose, we would make a full video about Linus DK and share his story with you. Linus once had a computer assistance business and taught many people various computer skills. He has a vast knowledge of all things PC and came to the Anon world in 2011. He was a front runner for Anonymous in his own country and is one of the most skilled in Anonymous. Like most, he found a group on IRC and became involved in an op. There once was a time when the majority of Anonymous were truth speakers and freedom fighters, destroying the elite who control us all. However, as Anonymous has become such a strong force standing up for the civilians of the world, a force the elite cannot silence. They are afraid. Years ago the American government released its horde of agents to create a massive amount of accounts on social media outlets. They were to do this with one mission: to divide and destroy Anonymous and the reputation we had. They have many other ways of doing this, which we have already exposed before. As Anonymous would not be destroyed so easily, they had to get more aggressive. They began to target weak, naive kids. They target certain traits and age groups, manipulate them with fear and ego until they have the child's trust. Then for added security they reveal themselves, forcing their prey into submission. This child who has no idea what legal and illegal is, not to mention many times the maturity to handle the situation, is used by these agents to do the same thing: create a mass amount of accounts, get followers and fans, keep people distracted, create drama inside Anonymous, divide Anonymous. The US government uses this tactic against people around the world regardless of country. The US government decided a few years ago that it no longer had borders and assumed military and legal power over all countries and citizens of the world. They create operations under the name of Anonymous as well as infiltrate operations done by true Anons. They gather information and then they arrest them all. Just as we saw how Cebu was used so easily by the agents, it happens to many more. True Anonymous is dying because of cowards who do not stand up for anything or anyone. Cowards who have no dignity, no worth and no honor. It is almost impossible to gather together without being infected by a fraud, even though we expose them. Does this not sound like every other crusade the elite have launched through history? The group Linus was involved in, like so many others, had a mole, a disgusting, unseen infection. It was a setup from the start. The trade union of Linus' country needed to put in new security equipment, but it would take them offline for a week or so. This meant hundreds of thousands of people would not be able to receive their paychecks for that time. When faced with a technical issue that will cost them money, the rich wish to keep hidden. The patsy is easy to see. Governments and corporations are always villainizing Anonymous. Even the few operations the media is allowed to mention get mangled with disinformation to discredit the real Anonymous. As usual, all the media does is misinform. The Union's security firm, which is one of the largest international cybersecurity firms, sent some of their own people into the Anonymous IRC and started an operation to DDoS the website. This type of attack throws the website offline until the attack is ended. No damage is done to anything from a DDoS attack. It is the equivalent of holding a cookie out of reach of your younger sister. When your arm gets tired, she will get the cookie. It does not create damage and it ends instantly. So, as that is Anonymous' attack of choice, the operation commenced and they planned the attack on the Union site. The attack was, of course, a success. The site was down for one day. As long as they kept the attack active, people were pissed that the site was down and lults were had all around. The next day, however, the union had their system taken down and a new one put in place. The work took a week to complete. During this time, the union never made an announcement to the public as to why the site was down or when it would be back up and allow people to access their funds. Instantly, arrests were made on all of those in the group. Also, a video was put on YouTube with the so-called official anonymous intro, etc. Not every video that uses anonymous logos and mottos is real anonymous. Once you are paying attention, then you can tell the difference. Linus was framed by one who claimed to be anonymous and arrested. Linus did not take a plea deal from court, even though he was betrayed, stabbed in the back by one who called him friend, and exposed. He kept most of the rest of his team out of jail. He accepted the hardest conviction any Anon has seen and fought to keep the blame off of the others. He was sentenced to 5 years, which in his country is the maximum sentence for a crime, along with a bill of $230,000. He can be found under Free Anons, the only true article about his case. Linus was exposed through his extensive 2-year court case because of his involvements with Anonymous. He lost his freedom. He lost his financial stability. He lost his friends, and Anonymous lost its reputation and died in his country. As if this was not enough stress to deal with, Linus met an Anonymous on IRC one day. She was involved in Op KKK and they instantly had a very strong relationship. After some time, the group she was involved with had a weak link. The weak link was an Anon who was recorded speaking with KKK leader Frank Ankena. After the meeting of an anonymous fame whore and a government-controlled KKK leader, he sold his fellow Anonymous for money. As she was exposed to the KKK, and had doxed and exposed dozens of top leaders of the terrorist group, she had to leave the country. The others in her group were picked off one by one over a few weeks, and when she heard they were coming for her, she abandoned everything and got on a plane. Linus and a couple Anons helped her financially to get tickets to be able to leave. Long story short, after offering housing and safety to her in Europe, Linus, who had lost everything and was involved in the largest hacker case in his country's history, picked her up at the airport at last. Their relationship only got stronger when they met. They were married and continue exposing corruption and spreading truth as Anonymous. To this day, Linus gave up what little freedom and finances he did have to save someone's life. Someone he never met in person. Someone he never heard or saw besides in text. When you are true and so strongly convicted to protect and save humanity, as Linus is, you actually can. Anonymous is not your hero. Anonymous is not your savior. You must learn how to become your own. No one person can achieve the goals and idea of Anonymous. We are a collective. Linus is the most inspiring, intelligent, compassionate, courageous, selfless, sacrificing person the world will never meet. He put himself in further personal danger, as his Anonymous was tailed for many months after she arrived. Perhaps now you can understand what it is really like to be Anonymous. It is not something we tell our cousins, aunts, moms, dads, joke about with friends, at work, or even our spouses. For many, why we are Anonymous, their safety, as well as ours, is only kept this way. One troubling habit we see currently is Anonymous associating with frauds, fake Anons, even after they have been exposed, which only furthers their agenda. Fake Anons must be exposed when they are discovered, for all to see. If we simply ignore them, we are allowing them to continue deceiving others, Anonymous and civilian alike. Disinformation is rampant. Cowardice is our epidemic. We will not tolerate it. Anonymous needs no followers. We want no followers. We want free-thinking and expressing individuals. Anonymous holds the idea of Anonymous at all times. Not everyone can understand the idea of Anonymous in its entirety. That is why not everyone who claims to be Anonymous can truly be Anonymous. Though the idea is not complex or deep, it requires responsibility and freedom of the mind. Both of these things are unintelligible to most people because it takes too much effort. Both of these things cause many to fear. We are much more than kids, sitting in the basement. This is no game. Real Anonymous are brave, as Linus here. They are compassionate to all. Real Anonymous spread truth. Comfortable or not, easy or not, we throw in all of the chips because we only get one chance in this life to stand for something. We only have one chance to make a difference. And we can only make a true and lasting difference if we are united. Real Anonymous do not condone violence or religion or rulers of any kind. Religions are created to brainwash and control the masses. Religion is not belief. Rulers solidify the brainwashing that someone must be in control. Someone must be better than you. And violence is caused by these two things. We believe that there is some good left in this world. We haven't found it yet, but surely, it is worth fighting for. Real Anonymous stand for freedom. We fight for you. It is time to unite and stand together, with or without a mask, which is only a symbol used by Anonymous representing anarchy, which is freedom from rulers. The life of an Anonymous is clearly dangerous. It can be fatal. Many Anonymous have been murdered by governments. Countless of us will spend decades in jail. Most of us will never have a penny to our name because of fines and legal fees, and no mention of it to the public. However, not one Anonymous would do what they have done differently. We who understand what is at stake do not enter Anonymous lightly or without thought. We know we literally sacrifice our lives for freedom and truth. Anonymous is a very strong family, and the best anyone can have. Since it is easy to lose everything by being anonymous, we relied on truth and loyalty. This cannot be understood by most in these days, and it can be learned by less. Truth creates trust, and without it we will all be deceived, divided, and dead. So, now that you know what life is like as an anonymous, what do you think? Are you ready to start your adventure? We have been waiting for you. We are Anonymous.